Hi everyone, let's discuss about databases. So we have SQL and NoSQL databases. So databases are of two types. One is SQL and second one is NoSQL. So what are SQL databases? These are also called relational databases. And NoSQL means non-relational databases. Okay. So let's see the difference between these two. So we will discuss SQL versus NoSQL databases. So on the basis of let's say first one is data model. We will differentiate on the basis of data model, and then we will differentiate on the basis of, let's say, okay, data model and schema. We will discuss on the basis of schema, then scalability, then we will see transactions. Okay. Then we have centralized and decentralized. And decentralized. Then we will see some use cases of both. Okay. So coming to the first one, data model. So here SQL has relational structured data with table, rows and columns. Okay. Relational structured data with table, rows and columns. Okay. So SQL has relational model with table, rows and columns, and here data is in structured format and it follows a predefined schema. So its examples are MySQL, okay, PostgreSQL, okay, Oracle, that is also a SQL. So now let's discuss NoSQL on the basis of data model. NoSQL. So NoSQL is flexible, non-relational, okay. So NoSQL is non-relational model and it can store data in various forms like key value, document, column family or graph. Example, MongoDB and Cassandra. These are NoSQLs. Example, MongoDB, Cassandra, Redis. These are example of NoSQL databases. So what is SQL? So in this, data is stored in the form of tables, rows and columns, and in NoSQL, so data is flexible and non-relational. Okay. So in NoSQL, we can store data in various forms like key values, documents, column family or graphs. So now let's discuss schema. Let's differentiate SQL and NoSQL on the basis of schema. So SQL has fixed schema. Okay. Predefined and rigid structure. So SQL has fixed schema. We need to define the structure before storing the data. Okay. And if in any case, if we want to change the structure, then it will be very complex. Okay. But in case of NoSQL, it is schemaless and it is dynamic. Okay. We can say that NoSQL is schemaless or flexible schema. We can store data without predefined structure that allows easy changes. Okay. When we want to do some changes, that will be very easy. Okay. सो इन नो एसक्यूएल हम किसी भी प्रीडिफाइंड स्ट्रक्चर को डाटा स्टोर कर सकते हैं और इजीली और चेंजेस भी हम इजीली कर सकते हैं इन केस ऑफ नो एसक्यूएल. बट इन केस ऑफ एसक्यूएल इट इज fixed schema and it is predefined. Okay. So now let's discuss on the basis of scalability. So SQL, it is vertical scale. We can do vertical scale. Okay. So in SQL, it can be scaled vertical by adding more power like CPU, RAM to a single server. And in case of NoSQL, it is horizontally scaled. Okay. Means we distribute data across multiple servers in case of NoSQL. So NoSQL is horizontally scalable, like adding more servers. Now coming to the transactions. So here SQL follow ACID transactions. ACID. ACID means atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Okay, so it supports these. And in case of NoSQL, it supports base model. Okay. So what is base? It means basically highly available, soft state, and eventually consistent. Okay, eventually consistent means sometimes DB can give stale data, but after some time it can give latest data once the node gets synced. Okay. So here SQL क्या करता है, हमारा एसिड ट्रांजेक्शन्स को सपोर्ट करता है जो डाटा कंसिस्टेंसी और इंटीग्रिटी को इंश्योर करता है. बट इन केस ऑफ नो एसक्यूएल, it eventually consistent means sometimes DB can give old data, but when the node gets sync, only then we will get the updated data. So NoSQL databases may not guarantee immediate consistency. That is, it can take some time to reflect the same data in all the nodes. Okay. So, but some NoSQL databases like MongoDB, they offer transactions, but they are not good as SQLs. Okay. So now coming to centralized and decentralized. So here SQL is centralized in nature. Okay. SQL is centralized. So what does centralized means? Here data is stored and managed in a single server. Okay. And to handle the large traffic, we can scale vertically by adding more resources such as CPU or memory to a single server. Okay. And this centralization, it ensures high consistency. Okay. And in case of NoSQL, it is decentralized. It is decentralized in nature. So what does it means? It has distributed nature. Okay. Because it has distributed data across multiple servers. So this is the example of centralized and decentralized. And now use cases. So coming to the use cases. So when should we use SQL and when should we use NoSQL? So SQL is best suited for the structured data when we have structured data. Okay. And we are working with the transactional systems like banking systems. Okay. We are working with transactions, means banking system. So in this case, we prefer SQL databases, and it is best for structured data and for applications that requires complex queries. Okay. If there are complex queries, then we should go for SQL. Okay. And if our domain is banking domain, then we should follow SQL databases. And when no SQL databases are preferred, it is best preferred for the scalable, Also, no structured, unstructured data we can say. Okay. And for the unstructured data, so some examples are social media platforms. Okay. So NoSQL is best suited for the large scale and unstructured data applications like social media platforms, IoT systems, okay, or real-time analytics, we can say. Real-time analytics. So in this video, we have discussed about the databases. One is SQL, another one is NoSQL databases. And we have differentiated between SQL versus NoSQL databases based on the data model, schema, scalability, transactions, centralized and decentralized nature, and with use cases. Hope you understand the concept of databases.